Something extraordinary is unfolding in Detroit right now, and it involves a name that still makes every Lions fan's heart skip a beat. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your ultimate destination for breaking news, insider analysis, and everything you need to stay ahead of the conversation about our Detroit Lions. This is where Lions Nation gathers to get the real story, the moves that matter, and the insights that keep you connected to every decision shaping our franchise. And what I'm about to discuss with you today involves a potential reunion so powerful, so emotionally charged, that it could rewrite the final chapter of one of the greatest careers in Lions history. The pieces are moving in ways nobody anticipated just months ago. Conversations are happening behind closed doors that could bring back a legend, a quarterback who gave everything to this city for 12 years, who battled through some of the toughest stretches in franchise history, and who left Detroit to finally get the championship ring he deserved. But now, circumstances have shifted, opportunities have emerged, and there's a legitimate scenario where the most beloved quarterback in modern Lions history could return home to finish what he started. Before I get into the specifics of how this could actually happen, let me set the stage, because understanding where we are as a franchise right now is crucial to grasping why this conversation is even possible. The Detroit Lions are no longer the laughingstock of the NFL. We're no longer the team that talented players leave to find success elsewhere. We've transformed into one of the most dangerous, most complete, most exciting teams in the entire league. Our 15-2 season last year wasn't a fluke. It was the culmination of brilliant roster construction, elite coaching, and a culture shift that has made Detroit a destination rather than a departure point. But here's where things get fascinating. Despite all our success, despite having one of the most dynamic offenses in football, there's been ongoing discussion about the quarterback position and what the long-term plan looks like. Our current signal caller has done good things, but there are questions about whether we have the kind of championship-caliber quarterback play that can carry us through the playoffs and deliver a Super Bowl. And that's where this potential move becomes not just sentimental, but strategically brilliant. Matthew Stafford, the name that defined Lions football for over a decade. The quarterback who threw for over 45,000 yards in a Lions uniform, who set virtually every franchise passing record, who played through injuries that would sideline most players, who gave this city everything he had even when the roster around him wasn't championship caliber. Stafford left Detroit after the 2020 season in a blockbuster trade that sent him to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for Jared Goff and a massive haul of draft picks. And in his first year with the Rams, Stafford did exactly what he came to do. He won a Super Bowl. That trade, almost 5 years later, is still considered one of the most talked-about deals in modern NFL history. And here's the beautiful part. Both teams won. The Rams got their championship with Stafford leading the way. The Lions used those draft picks to build the foundation of what we see today. Jameson Williams at pick 12 in 2022, Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 12 in 2023, Sam Laporta at pick 34 in 2023. Those three players are now cornerstones of our offense, instrumental in our 15-2 season and our emergence as one of the NFC's elite young teams. Stafford himself recently acknowledged this on the Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray on Sirius XM. When asked about the trade, Stafford said both the Rams and Lions came out winners, and honestly, it's hard to argue with him. He noted that the Lions have capitalized on the picks and players they acquired, that the franchise is as good as it's been in years, and that it looks like both sides got what they were looking for. There was no bitterness in his words, no regrets, just mutual respect between a quarterback and the city that shaped him. And then Stafford said something that hit every Lions fan right in the heart. When Gray asked about his time in Detroit, Stafford's answer was emotional and sincere. He talked about learning so much about himself, about NFL football, about getting through tough times. He mentioned that all 4 of his kids were born in Detroit, that he still has friends in the building, that he thinks about the city often. And then he said this, "Tough decision to leave, but I love where I am now. I'm having a blast playing football, but I wouldn't change those 12 years there for anything." That kind of connection doesn't just disappear. That kind of bond between a player and a city is rare, and it creates the foundation for something special. And now, with the Rams facing salary cap challenges, with Stafford approaching the twilight of his career, and with the Lions positioned as legitimate Super Bowl contenders who might need that one final piece, there's a scenario where bringing Stafford back to Detroit makes sense for everyone involved. Let me walk you through how this could actually work, because the logistics matter and understanding the framework is crucial to evaluating whether this is realistic or just wishful thinking. Stafford is 37 years old now, but he's still playing at an incredibly high level. He's currently an MVP candidate with the Rams, showing that his arm strength, decision-making, and ability to perform in big moments haven't diminished. The Rams, however, are in a difficult financial situation with multiple aging stars and limited cap flexibility. They might be facing a rebuild, and moving Stafford's contract could give them the space they need to retool. From the Lions' perspective, we're in a win-now window. We have elite talent on both sides of the ball, we have one of the best coaching staffs in the league, and we have a roster that's built to compete for championships right now. But to get over that final hump to actually win a Super Bowl, we might need a quarterback who's already proven he can do it. Someone who knows what it takes to perform in January and February, who has the experience to handle the pressure, who can elevate everyone around him in the biggest moments. And here's the emotional element that can't be ignored. Imagine Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit to finish his career. Imagine him leading the team he loves in the city where his family grew up, with a roster that's infinitely better than anything he had during his first 12 years here. Imagine him getting the chance to bring a Super Bowl to Detroit, to give this city and these fans the championship they've waited generations for. That's the kind of story that transcends sports, that becomes part of the fabric of a city's history. The practical aspects of this trade would involve the Lions sending assets back to the Rams, likely including draft picks and possibly a player or two. Given Stafford's age and contract situation, the price wouldn't be astronomical, but it would require the Lions to commit significant resources. The question is whether Brad Holmes and the front office believe that Stafford gives us a better chance to win a Super Bowl than our current situation. And based on what we've seen from Stafford this season, based on his track record in big games, based on his knowledge of what it takes to win at the highest level, there's a legitimate argument to be made. There's also the chemistry factor to consider. Stafford already has relationships with people in the building. He knows the city, he knows the culture, and he wouldn't need time to adjust to being a Detroit Lion because he already is one in his heart. That seamless transition could be invaluable for a team that's trying to maximize its championship window right now. And for the players on the current roster, having a Super Bowl winning quarterback in the locker room, someone who's been through the fire and come out victorious, could be the leadership element that takes this team to the next level. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is speculation based on the current landscape of the NFL, the situations of both franchises, and the emotional connection between Stafford and Detroit. There haven't been confirmed reports of active negotiations, and both teams would need to carefully evaluate whether this move makes sense. But the fact that it's even plausible, the fact that all the pieces could align for this to happen, is remarkable in itself. For Lions fans, the idea of Stafford returning is deeply emotional. We watched him battle through losing seasons. We saw him play through injuries. We appreciated his loyalty to a franchise that couldn't give him the support he needed. And when he finally got his chance with the Rams and won that Super Bowl, there was genuine happiness for him, even though it hurt to see him succeed elsewhere. Bringing him back wouldn't just be about football strategy. It would be about giving one of our greatest players the chance to complete his legacy where it belongs. The timing of this potential move is also significant. Stafford is at a point in his career where he's still playing elite football, but doesn't have many years left. The Lions are at a point where we're ready to win now, where we have all the pieces except potentially that one final quarterback upgrade. The Rams are at a point where they might need to make difficult decisions about their aging core and salary cap situation. All of these factors converging creates a unique window where a trade that seemed impossible a year ago suddenly becomes feasible. So here we are, Lions Nation, staring at a scenario that seemed like pure fantasy but might actually be possible. Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit to lead this incredible roster to give this city the championship we've dreamed about, to complete one of the greatest redemption stories in sports history. It's the kind of move that would energize the entire fan base, that would make Detroit the most talked-about team in football, and that would give us a legitimate shot at bringing home a Lombardi trophy. Now I want to hear from you, Lions faithful. Would you want to see Matthew Stafford back in a Lions uniform? Do you think bringing him back makes sense, given his age and contract situation? Would you be willing to give up draft picks and assets to make this happen? And most importantly, do you believe Stafford could be the final piece that delivers us a Super Bowl championship? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to know where Lions Nation stands on this potentially franchise-altering move. If you're loving this kind of in-depth analysis and you want to stay locked in on every development, every trade possibility, every strategic decision as the Lions continue their championship pursuit, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is Lions News Fan Report, and we're here every single day bringing you the breaking news and expert insights you need to stay ahead of the game. One pride always. See you in the next one.